in his 18th season at the collegiate level, the offensive coordinator and tight ends coach of the Tennessee Volunteers, Alex Golesh. Questions, please raise your hand. We'll start in the back with John Adams.
John Adams, KnoxNews.com. Alex, a lot of teams in this league have really good running backs, a lot of depth at running backs. You don't really have that in terms of proven running backs. What are you looking for from this group, and how optimistic can you be at this point?
Yeah, I think we walked away from spring saying that we are still trying to figure that out. That was one of the big question marks for me. The way we play, the tempo at which we play, you really got to have 3 to 4 guys ready to roll. And by ready to roll, I mean ready into a game, guys that you're going to play. 3 that are legitimately playing, and a 4th and 5th, hopefully, that are with you on special teams. The tempo invites the rotation. So we left spring saying Jabari is definitely a guy that we can count on, we can trust. Still young, still hadn't had a whole lot of time, but really proved that he understood what we were trying to do. Not a complete finished product, but understood what we were trying to do. And I think attitude, effort, toughness, all those things embody what Jabari is. After that, it is a complete toss-up going into camp, just as big as any other competition. I was not anticipating the running back being the first question, but just as much as any competition, that's it. Tyon has had a really, really good summer. Really proud of Tyon. He's really growing up, really figuring it all out. Just how to be a college football player in general. Really excited about who the 3 to 4 to 5 could be. I think the next week and a half to 2 weeks will really tell us that. Jalen Wright has had a really good summer. He showed a lot of promise this spring. Knock on wood, we keep that group healthy and let it kind of play itself out. But you're dead on. These next couple of weeks are going to be really, really big there.
Ryan Shumpert, Rocky Top Insider. Cade Mays' versatility is very well known. Is there a spot you would like him to play at, or is it just wherever you need him most?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the name.
Cade Mays.
Cade Mays. Yeah, Cade Mays' versatility. We're gonna play him at guard, play him at tackle. He played a bunch at tackle in the spring, played a bunch at guard in the spring. We're gonna end up playing our best 5 there. He's one of them. We'll figure out where the best spot is. More so how others fit, and then where he would fit from there.
Just what are the most important traits that a quarterback is going to have to display over the next couple of weeks to win the starting job?
Yeah, it's a good question. Traits from the quarterback: the ability to run, manage the offense, be really, really efficient, give us the best opportunity to score. I know that's a little bit cliche in a lot of ways, but you got to be able to operate within the system. We are different. We are unique in how we play. We are really, really down to the wire here now. We're 30 days out from playing. We're gonna have to figure it out quick, pour reps into whoever that is, and get the other guys behind them ready to go play. But efficiency. Efficiency in the run game, efficiency in the pass game. By efficiency, I mean decision-making and consistency in play. Consistency is really the word throughout the offense in general. Consistency, stringing days together and allowing the coaches to trust in them and allowing their teammates to trust in them. But decision-making, consistency, help if we could push the ball vertically down the field.
Adam Sparks, News Sentinel. On Jabari Small specifically, what did you see that impressed you in the spring? And did you already know that he would fit into the offense from seeing film of last year or anything like that, or has it only been firsthand?
Yeah, Adam, every guy we came in here that had film, we watched. Game film. The guys we didn't have game film on, we watched practice film. Jabari didn't have a ton of game film. From the moment I met Jabari, maturity would be the word. Mature in so many ways in terms of how he carries himself, how he handles himself, his approach to the way he works. He's got mountains to climb in terms of leadership and those types of things, in terms of confidence. I think it's really hard to lead when you haven't played a ton. I think it's really hard to have confidence when you haven't physically shown it. I think preparation breeds confidence, and he certainly has prepared that way. But it's unique when the veteran of that group is a sophomore, is a 19-year-old young man. So I've put a lot on Jerry Mack and put a lot on Matt Merritt of teaching Jabari, and we've asked Coach Hype, and he's taken that role on too, and myself, put a lot on myself to teach him how to be that. But until we get into games and get to playing, I think that's really, really hard. But maturity would be the word. He's really talented. He's got great feet, great balance, great vision. He's a natural running back. He's a real SEC running back. But maturity, the way he goes about his work, and I'm excited to see him grow. He's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, you and Coach Heupel have talked since you've been here about kind of the flexibility of the offense. You can do it different ways depending on your personnel, whether it's quarterback, tight end, whatever. Does this offense have an identity? Do you have an identity for this offense as you go into fall camp based on what you got done in the spring?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we came in and because we were so different schematically, at least what we hoped to be, so different than what it was here. I think we had to kind of create that identity a little bit, and not a big slogan guy, acronym guy. We use one word, attack, and attack legitimately from an outside looking in. What attack means, and it can be quantified, but what attack means is playing harder than your opponent for longer. And within that is the tempo. Within that is how we play. But in terms of the actual plays and what we do, the kids understand the identity. We're going to line up really fast. We're going to play really fast. We're going to communicate extremely well. We're going to play harder than our opponent for longer. That is a daily battle, just like the culture we're building, just like what we want our team to resemble from the outside looking in, from the inside looking out. The identity of our offense is something you're fighting for every day. Starts with playing harder than your opponent for longer. The tempo, the pace at which we play, that is the identity. Having fun is the result of that, and I think to Coach Hype, that's so big that we are positive, that we enjoy what the kids enjoy what we're doing. We as coaches enjoy what we're doing. And to be honest with you, we haven't like truly faced any adversity as an offense or a defense, really as a team, that would make us really overcome a whole lot of hurdles yet. We have as coaches and as we've navigated our way through since we got here at the end of January, but as a team, that's what I'm excited to see. I'm excited for it to be hot. I'm excited for guys to be tired. Excited to line up in a scrimmage with nobody in the stands and things get really hard and see how we overcome that. We've had that a little bit in the spring, and guys individually have had some situations, but I'm excited for it to get hard and see what those tests look like before we line up on September 2nd. That, for me, is what I want to see in the next couple of weeks.
Patrick and Jimmy.
Hey, Alex, Patrick Brown with 24/7 Sports. With your group specifically, with the tight ends, with Austin Pope not being available, how does that sort of change your thinking, and does it mean you guys have to maybe get a freshman ready, maybe like Miles behind Princeton and Jacob?
Yeah, Patrick. Losing Austin, I think we in some ways we're getting close to prepared for that. He missed some time this spring. I kind of looked at him as a bonus in a lot of ways, being a veteran guy that's played a bunch. It's so unfortunate. To me, more than what it is to our offense or what it is to our room, I hate it for him. And that's not cliche coach talk. That's real. Like, there's a guy that's really bled orange and white for a very long time, worked his tail off to get back to being able to play. And, man, I don't know another way to put it other than it sucks. Sucks for him, sucks for our team. And And he's battled through a lot, real life adversity with his family and back surgeries and all things you never wish upon anybody. So I'm happy that he's getting to a better place. For us as a team, for us as an offense, you asked specifically our room. You know, Jacob, Princeton have played a bunch of football. I'm relying on those guys to fill whatever gap Austin was gonna fill. Put a lot on Miles Campbell. I know I've very openly spoke about him and his ability to play the game, to understand the game. He's a freshman. I told Coach Hype, I've never played a freshman at that position. And I've been really, really fortunate to coach some pretty good ones. So we'll see. The next 3 weeks for Miles will be huge. The next 3 weeks for Julian will be huge. And we'll kind of see. Hunter Salmon has got to step up and play some in there. And we'll end up at the end of the day, we'll be all right. We'll play the best 11 guys, and we've made it work before. But the hope is that Miles can take the next step in the next 3 weeks, and I'm okay with putting that on him.
Jimmy in the back left.
Jimmy Himes with the Sports Animal. 2 questions. Who is your most accurate passer? And secondly, running a high-octane offense, do you think it could perhaps mask any of the deficiencies you have on an offensive line?
Man, Jimmy, loaded questions. Most accurate passer. I don't know. Joe wasn't here in the spring. Be really curious to probably answer that question in about a week and a half. Probably not even fair to answer among the other 3 just because the spring was so heavy installation and so heavy learning the offense. And us getting here, really we didn't get going with those guys till the middle of February. And so I don't think it's probably fair to answer that. And I'm not hiding from the question. I really couldn't tell you the answer to that. I could probably tell you arm strength, or I'll probably reserve judgment on that as well, but I have a better feel there than I probably do truly accuracy. Coach Heupel, probably the strongest arm in that room. Also the only lefty. But in terms of, what was the other question? I got me rattled there. Yeah, can it hide deficiencies on the O-line? I think you can hide deficiencies on the O-line. I think more than hiding deficiencies on offense, I think the tempo, the spacing more so exposes deficiencies on defense. I think that's the reason behind we do what we do. Exposes deficiencies. It also probably hides somebody's ability to, especially if maybe a better player across from you is able to get his cleats in the ground and really come off and tee off on you. That's the advantage to what we do. With that means you got to practice that way and you got to work out that way. You got to condition that way. But can it hide some deficiencies? I think it more so exposes deficiencies on the other side than it really hides your deficiencies. When it is what you do, our guys just get into a rhythm of how we play. You obviously, I think you still got to line up, you still got to block, you still got to tackle. I think it gives you some advantages in some ways, schematically and physically.
Eric here to the right.
Eric Handy, sportsanimalvocalist.com. How many tight ends do you want to have to play in a game, and how important is it in this offense for the tight end to be well-rounded, split out wide, be able to catch, block, all that type of stuff?
Yeah, Eric. From my experience, what you would like to have is 4 guys that are ready to play in the 5th, kind of like I talked about the running backs in the 5th. That's primarily a special teams guy that can get you out of a game at the end. Your heavy load playing with 2 or 3, 2 guys, 3 guys, heavy load special teams. Those body types, those big skill body types. I think you recruit to that. I don't think we're at that right now here. I think with what we do on offense, with how we operate, we can adjust and make it work. We did a year ago at the previous place, adjusted and made it work. We weren't loaded there. So I think the wish list would be having 4 to 5 ready to roll. I think the reality is we'll end up with 3 to 4. We're hoping for 4, and we'll go. And if that number's 2, then it's 2. Then we've got to continue to develop in the receiver room to kind of overcome that. But we can get through a game. We can operate at a really, really high clip, and with 2 ready to roll. But obviously, that's a position that's really gives you so much flexibility. Gives you the ability. It's way easier to call when you have multiple tight ends that you can play. In terms of a guy that can do it all, you want to recruit guys that can play flex, that can play in the box, that can play attached. You want multiple guys. Same thing you're seeing at the National Football League, like guys that are pass catchers that can line up and play in the box. Those are the guys that are getting drafted at a really, really high clip. But you want to recruit complete tight ends. I think we're well on our way there. We're doing a really good job of identifying those guys, recruiting those guys, and I think it won't be long before we are where we want to be there.
Vince Ferrara, 99.1 The Sports Animal here in Knoxville. You mentioned Joe Milton earlier. I know you haven't coached him in an official practice just yet, but give us a breakdown of his skill set and what he is like and you like about him.
Yeah, Vince, he's got a bunch of film, so you get to see at least what he has done at the Division I level. You got to take away from that the good and count on Coach Halsley to continue to bring the good out in him. There's some deficiencies in there that we've worked like crazy to correct, that Joe has worked like crazy to correct. But, I remember him out of high school. I remember watching that high school film. I know Coach Hype, they recruited him at UCF. So there's like a bunch of us that have seen him, a bunch of us that have studied him, and then there's actual film from him at Michigan a year ago. So really strong arm guy, big body type. Big body. He is big. He is as big of a quarterback as I've ever been around. Strong, really strong arm. Has the ability to run. They did not ask him to do that just a ton, but can win running the football with him as well. But extremely strong arm. Since he's been here, you kind of look at the film, you realize he's a really highly intelligent, fun guy to be around. Loves football. All those things that we preach in recruiting, all those things that we internally constantly talk about. Guys that are mentally tough, guys that are intelligent, guys that share a love for the game of football. Those are the guys we want in our program. He fits that. I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. We've not gone through any adversity with Joe. Joe had gone through adversity at Michigan. Obviously ups and downs in his career season there a year ago. We've not gone through any of that with Joe. We've not gone through any of that in a lot of ways with a lot of guys. That will be the true tell of what Joe is. I'm excited to see it. He's excited to show us. He's excited to show himself, his family, like that he can take the next step as a passer, as a runner, as a quarterback, as a guy that can lead a big-time college football program to where it should be. Now, we'll find out. I'm excited to find out. I think we're all excited to find out because he's the only one out of those guys that we have not seen in person, live, in this system, in this offense. I'm excited. I'll have a way better idea in a week and a half, and we'll find out.
Rob Lewis, VolQuest.com. Coach, staying with the quarterbacks, is there a sense of urgency in establishing a pecking order so you can start divvying up the reps in the way you want to, so the guy that, the first and second guys get the bulk of the work in practice?
Absolutely. To me, there's a huge sense of urgency. You want to start to shape the offense towards who that guy is and having a plan for who the next one is. Because you got to prepare. You got a plan A, and then you got to have a plan B. And this COVID thing's still real. You got to have a plan C. And so maybe a plan D even. So I would like to get a pecking order as fast as we can. We're going to give all of those guys a really honest, fair shake at this thing early, and then the pressure's on to at least get your top two to a point where you can start to split those reps. and we'll have a really good idea. Like I said, week and a half is my goal to at least have a top 2, maybe 3, narrow down to a top 2. And the neat thing for me as the offensive coordinator is Coach Hype has been through it, done it. I've really leaned super heavy on him in that regard to help with that part of it. And Joey Halsley has been right at his side for a really long time with it. We talk about it daily, just like you guys talk about it daily. But for me, for us as an offense, I think the faster it happens, the better. Now, when it gets announced and all that, I think that would be obviously up to Coach Hype. And if I had it my way, nobody would know till we rolled out on September 2nd. I don't know if that's possible or not here. Seems to be not. But I have learned that. So I won't answer the question when it comes up. It'll have to get leaked out. Bill, that's on you.
Blake Topmeyer, USA Today Network. Alex, what's your philosophy on 2 quarterback systems?
Yeah. I guess, Blake, the best way I can answer that is we're going to play the best 11 guys we got. And generally that's 1 quarterback in there. I think you can certainly play with 2. I've done it. I've been around it. Coach Hype has done it, has played with 2. I think we're going to play the best 11, and then everybody else that earns our trust and deserves to play, we're going to fight our tails off to play as well. So will there be 2 quarterbacks playing in a game? I would probably bet there certainly could be. There'd be 3, like that would probably be a stretch. But to me, I would love to have 1 guy you can hang your hat on and you can really build this thing around. If there's another one that deserves the opportunity to play, we'll certainly do it. But I truly believe that.
Last question, Joe, in the middle here.
Yeah, Joe Rexford, The Athletic. Actually, Rob and Blake both asked questions I was going to ask you, but also on the quarterbacks. You mentioned adjusting the offense to whoever maybe gets the job or gets more reps. How much difference in the skill sets are we talking about here?
Yeah, Joe. I mean, there's obviously athletically different skill sets, ability to throw the ball down the field, different skill sets. In terms of what we do from a big picture standpoint, tempo, splits, how we operate from play to play, how we operate situational football-wise, most of that is a system that you're trying to fit a guy into. In terms of the actual plays, in terms of how you can gain an advantage, you're going to tailor it specifically to a guy's skill set. You look at, like, at least in the recent history, how a Dylan Gabriel is different than a Mackenzie Milton, and like in Hype's pedigree, a Drew Lock is different than a Mackenzie Milton. You can look at it a bunch of different ways, but guy that can give you an advantage running the football, you would game plan drastically different than a guy that maybe cannot, that can't get you out of trouble with his feet. So truly athletic ability, ability to run the football. Can that quarterback be an extra guy in the run game for you? Because that is drastically different. And if he can't, you plan it out different. And we have the ability with how we operate in the run game, how we operate in the pass game to adjust it. But again, the faster you can get to that, the better, because you start to build it that way, and your skill guys get to catch the ball from one particular guy or 2 particular guys, and even the O-line hearing it from the same guy in a rhythm over and over again. And at the same time letting that guy screw up and me having a feel for what that guy likes, all those things factor into how you play a game. So we'll see.